Now, Parliament is back this week, and it looks like it's going to be a very busy autumn for the MPs. Now, the Labour MP for Aylesbury, Laura Kyrke-Smith, is writing to Thames Water to object to plans for a new water booster station in the village of Buckland. And Laura joins us on the line now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on the show. So, unfortunately, Laura, you're going to have to educate me and probably some of my listeners as well. What is a water booster station?
Well, let me tell you how I understand it. So, Thames Water is proposing building a new water booster station in Buckland, just on the edge of the village of Buckland, and it's to offset the planned closure of a separate station at Horwich. And this is partly because of the planned growth in the Aylesbury area, putting a bit of extra pressure on the water supply. And it's partly about water transfer to the wider area. But I had been in touch with Buckland Parish Council. They got in touch and let me know about this decision from Thames Water. It's been going on for 18 months or so now. It's been going on for a while. They had got in touch to express concerns about the proposed site of this booster station. They are very concerned because it's a big structure, these things. So I've been learning about what they actually involve. But it's a big structure. It's about sort of 45 by 85 meters, and then about 6 meters, more than 6 meters high. But the Thames Water proposal is that it's built right up against a row of old cottages, which would be dwarfed by it, and it would be very sort of noticeable and present for all of those villagers in Buckland. So the parish council had written with some concerns about this proposed placement and asked if I could have a look into it. In fact, asked if I could go and see the site. So I went over and had a great meeting with the council and a look around the site. And I have to say, I do share their concerns.
You don't think it's just a bit of NIMBYism?
Well, I'll tell you why I'm interested in it. Because the approach that Buckland Parish Council have taken is a really constructive one. So they're not saying don't build it here in Buckland. They're very understanding of the need for it. What they're suggesting is an alternative site, which is it's on a farmer's field. It's a big field, and the site that the council is proposing is sort of at the other end of the field, where it wouldn't be sort of up quite so close on these cottages that are nearby. It would be sort of a bit further removed, out of the way of the dog walkers. There's a path across that field, and the access, I think, would be a lot better in the site that they're proposing as well. You'd be able to get to it off the A41 pretty easily, rather than having to go up and down Buckland Road, which you probably know is quite a small road that struggles with traffic anyway.
Okay.
So I don't think it is NIMBY. You know, they've engaged with the idea. They're open to the idea. They get the need for it. It's just that there's an alternative. And what struck me is that it sounds like they have been very constructive in developing the idea of this alternative, putting it to Thames Water. And then there's just been a lot of delays hearing back from Thames Water about this proposal. And that's where I wanted to give them a bit of support.
Okay. When Thames Water say we are currently investigating the feasibility of relocating the water booster station to an alternative site. So it does sound like they might reconsider as well.
Yeah, it sounds like they're open to it, which is fantastic. If so, the council have been told they'd hear back by July. As I say, this has been running on since last year, and this has been a bit of a pattern that there's been a promise of a response that hasn't come through. And I think that it does raise doubts and questions and concerns. So I've written to Thames Water. I've asked. I've expressed my concern at the delays. I've asked for an update on their assessment of this alternative site as soon as possible.
Okay.
And I've asked them to continue engaging with the residents who, half of them have come together and done a petition. There's a lot of interest in it, understandably, in the village. And I just want to make sure that very constructive interest and engagement is met with a good response by Thames Water.
Well, look, Laura, we look forward to seeing how that all plays out. It was lovely to see you in the studio when you popped in July and to talk about your new role as the MP for Aylesbury. And when you were in the studio, we had a little chat about the traffic situation that's happening in Aylesbury, and you said you were going to meet the council and speak to them about the issue of traffic in Aylesbury, and you actually told us it was a top priority.
I'll be very careful to raise with them all the things that I heard from people across Aylesbury and the villages during the election campaign and in the months before that. So traffic will be top of my agenda on the issues that I want to raise. It's been awful for people this week.
Well, you know what, I'm going to go with this, Laura, because driving around Aylesbury this week and last week and
again,
for the foreseeable future, Holiday Inn Road, Bellingham Road, Broughton Lane, the back end of Bicester, Stoke Mandeville. I mean, it took me half an hour to try and find a way into Aylesbury the other night. So what have the council said to you?
It's awful. I know. I feel... I sit in that traffic myself, and I feel so awful for people that are sitting in it every day. And it was awful just before the summer, but it's kept going, and I know it's bad again this week. I did speak to the council about it. There are, to a certain extent, some of these works are necessary. I do continue to worry that they haven't been planned in the right way, and that they come at the same time, and that there's not enough thought given to people who need to use the different roads to get from one side of the town to the other, and encounter not just one set of roadworks but multiple sets of roadworks. They've raised some challenges they have with the utility companies that are conducting the works, and the works are running over, and so there's something we need to look into there to make sure that utility companies are incentivised to complete the works on time. But there's also something that we need to look into with the council, which is just about planning these out as best possible. But as you say, Parliament is sitting again this week. It is going to be a busy autumn, and you will see me raising this as well in Parliament, and making sure that I'm doing my best to try and get things working in Aylesbury. But also, I'm very conscious. We've said as a government that we're going to build 1.5 million new homes over the course of this Parliament. If we're going to do that well, we're going to need to learn the lessons of some of the previous house building efforts in Aylesbury, in places like Aylesbury, where it's not been done in a planned way, and it has led to all this extra pressure on the roads, on our infrastructure. So I'll be not just trying to see what I can do to get things working better in Aylesbury, but also making sure those lessons are learned for elsewhere.
Okay, just before we move on, I just want to say this: if you don't get out of Aylesbury by 9:00 at night, you've got no chance. So we look forward to seeing how that plays out. Now, one of Keir Starmer's first policies has been to cut winter fuel allowance for many people. Are you worried for the people in Aylesbury this winter?
I've had a lot of people write to me about it, so I do really hear people's concerns. I think the challenge for us as a government is that we've inherited this dire economic situation, this 22 billion black hole that was found in the public finances, above and beyond. Discovered after the election, above and beyond the challenges that we knew we already had. So we are having to make quite tough choices in terms of how we, in year, we need to be reducing spending. On the winter fuel allowance, I'm really worried about people that have written in, just told me how difficult it is to pay their bills, to heat their homes. I'm worried people will make choices like not turning their heating on, which then, and then I worry about their health as a consequence. So I'm hearing people's concerns on it. One thing that we're doing actually starting this week is launching a campaign to make sure that people who are eligible for pension credit are taking it up. There's about something like 300,000 people across the country who are eligible but don't access pension credit currently. We'll be supporting people over the next few months if they are eligible to register for that. And it can be backdated 3 months as well, even if it takes a bit of time for the application to go through. So I hope that will help a bit. And then, kind of more broadly with pensions, we, as a result of the triple lock that we're still protecting, that we will see increases to the state pension over time. So we hope that will help. But I appreciate people are concerned about it. I would also be running. But I'll be sharing all the information about how to register for pension credit if you haven't. But I'll also be running some advice surgeries over the autumn, so that people who need to can come and talk to me about it as well.
Okay, so a final question to you then, Laura, because with all of that that's going on, it does seem that the honeymoon period seems to have ended for the Labour, and the new government is now attracting quite a lot of criticism over to plans to ban smoking outside pubs, for example. It just seems a bit weird that there's bigger fish to fry at the moment. Getting the financial situation sorted, working out how our pensioners are going to be able to turn on their heating, but Labour seem to be focused on banning smoking outside pubs, for example. Why is that a top priority?
Well, I mean, we're back in Parliament yesterday. The railways bill, which is focused on the renationalisation of the railways and improving passenger services, that was the focus of Parliament yesterday. Rachel Reeves spoke to us in Parliament yesterday about the work she'll be doing before the end of October to prepare the budget. So. Actually, if you look at the parliamentary calendar, it's fixing the economy, getting us back to growth, and then delivering on some of these key promises we made in the manifesto, like on the railways, which is certainly where us as MPs are all spending our time in Parliament.
Okay, so you still think the honeymoon period is still going strong for the Labour Party?
Well, I mean, it's tough. There's a lot of work to do. I think we're all very conscious of that, and I hope that people will start to feel the benefits of the work that we're doing as quickly as possible.
As always, Laura, appreciate your time. I really do. Let's talk again when hopefully we have more good news to talk about the situation that's going on in Aylesbury and the surrounding areas. And we thank you once again for your time. Cheers, Laura.
Yeah, thank you. Keep in touch. Thank you.